Billy Paul says, what are the biblical parameters for altars in the home? Are they still biblical? So in ancient Israel, it was important that they did not worship in random locations. When God gave the law, the temple was the centerpiece of where worship took place. And that's not to say they never made an altar and offered in any way anywhere else, but it was important that they didn't have these sort of like constant. They didn't have a replacement for the temple. And this happened when the kingdom divided, when North and South divided, they built like a new altar and it was kind of a replacement. And I think that there's something we're getting at here, which is a potential of having a physical altar is that it can become a replacement for another more important one. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like, and with New Testament times, it seems very different. In the New Testament, we're not replacing the temple when we have an altar, because we don't use the temple, the old school temple, right? You are the temple. And so when 2 or 3 are gathered in his name, he's there in our midst. We are the temple of the Spirit. We are worshiping. We are all kings and priests. And so when we have an altar, I fear that what this says about us is that something is lacking in the temple that he has made us. And I don't know of any New Testament examples of altars in the home of any kind. What it seems would happen was the Jews would slowly realize, like, no, we are now in the new covenant and we have the greater temple. The non-Jews would get rid of their altars and they would worship the Lord in spirit. Jesus predicted this in John 4. Let me give you an example. So in John 4, Jesus is talking to the woman at the well, and there's this whole debate. Remember I told you the Northern Kingdom, they had like their own altar. Well, the Sumerians had their own, like, here's where the center of everything is, not Jerusalem. And so there was a debate over where the right place to worship God was. And so, so she says to Jesus, "Sir, I perceive that you are a prophet. Our fathers worshipped on this mountain, and you Jews say that in Jerusalem is the place where one ought to worship." Jesus said to her, Woman, believe me, the hour is coming when you will neither on this mountain nor in Jerusalem worship the Father. Wait, it's not going to be at any location? Well, no, it's not going to be location based, right? It's not about where's the proper space, place, or altar. You worship what you do not know. We know what we worship, for salvation is of the Jews. But the hour is coming and now is when the true worshipers will worship the Father in spirit and truth. Altars, it seems to me, are unnecessary for Christians because they are conduits of some kind, because they represent distance between you and God, and the altar is the way to draw near. And so when you add icons and you add images on top of that altar, I think it makes it even more complicated and challenging and questionable. So I think that we don't see that. I think this is post New Testament. It started popping up a lot, and people do it, but I don't get it. I don't get it, man. I'm the temple. Why am I going to this altar?